Hello everybody, Laura here. So I am so excited to announce that I am a design team member for Oddball Art Stamps. And the first project that I decided to use, I'm going to be using the image Richelle, which is number 216. And you can get that at Oddball Art Stamps Company at Etsy.com. And first I show where I cut her out with my X-Acto knife. And I'm going to be altering a 5x7 canvas. And so first I'm just coloring her in. I'm going to be using my one Copic that I own, which is E21 Baby Skin Pink, and I'm using that to color in her skin. And the technique that I use to color my images, I use my Zig markers for that, and I take the writer tip ends and I outline the image and all the details of the image, and then I will take the brush tip and a clear stamp block, and I will put some of the ink onto the clear stamp block, add a little bit of water, and use a paintbrush to color her in, or to color in my images. And I like to do that. It's just what I like. If you have Copic markers, it resembles Copic markers in a way. The shading isn't what Copic markers can provide. But even when I was a kid and I would color on my coloring books, I would outline my images that I was coloring in a dark of the crayon, and I would put it dark and hard on the outside, and then I would color really lightly on the inside. So it's just my preference, but if you have Copic markers or another way of coloring your images, then that's great. But this is just the technique that I like to use, and I decided to leave it in, to leave in how I do it. Just if anybody else maybe would like to try this, if you have Zig markers and you want to do it. For me, I purchased my Zig markers. I think I found them at the Goodwill, and I paid $2.99 for the entire set. So I just stick with my Zigs instead of going and purchasing Copics. And I really like how the images turn out whenever I color this way. So as you can see, I've used the brown, and I'm going to color in her hair. And I went around all the strands of her hair in the outline with the marker first, using the marker itself, and then I'll color in the inside by adding it to the stamp block. And I had someone ask me the other day why not just use the markers straight onto the paper, but to me, I don't really like the bold and brightness of the marker straight onto the paper, and I really prefer it to look more like a watercolor, so that's why I do that. And if you go to Oddball Art Stamp Company on Etsy and you use the code DTLOLA10, you can get 10% off of your purchase. And I really hope you'll go and check that out, because these images are wonderful. I've used them in the past, and I'm very excited to be on the design team to use these images. I think they're great. I think they're beautiful, and I love the quirky ones she has. There's so many to choose from, and they're so beautiful and cute. So there I'm using the teal or turquoise color to color in her eyes, and I'll be using the pink on her bottoms, the hearts on her socks, her shoes, and I believe on her lips and eyeshadow as well. And then I will come in with the yellow and color in the rest of her clothing. So I went on and cut a lot of the coloring out, but here I'm going to take this 5x7 canvas board, and it's pre-gessoed, and I use the color Pink Eraser by Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to color the whole canvas with that. And I make sure to get around all the edges of the canvas board. Okay, and so here I'm using a stencil by the Tim Holtz collection, and that's Rays THS003, and bright yellow from Apple Barrel, and a stippling brush. And I'm going to go on ahead and put that on the background just to add a little bit more texture and more depth onto the background. Okay, and then next I'm going to use another stencil from the Tim Holtz collection, and there wasn't a name on it, but I believe it's Dots or something. And I used the Studio Acrylics modeling paste and a palette knife. I'm going to go through, and that's going to add some dimension and texture onto my canvas, and I stick it in various places around the board. And I took a little extra time on this canvas because I had decided after I'd already put the modeling paste down that I wanted them to be a different color than what I had planned to begin with. And so it took me a little extra time, but here in a second you'll see that I end up using some paint, and I used the turquoise color from Apple Barrel. And it took me a little while, but I did end up going through and painting each of the little dots, but I should have just mixed my paint in with my modeling paste before I put it on the canvas. So to save yourself a little bit of time, if you go to recreate this, or if you in the future make up your minds before so that you don't take the time, because it took me quite a while to go through and add turquoise to each one of these little dots in the spots where the modeling paste was at. But it is relaxing to sit there and be able to create, but I really wish I would have been able to get it done a little bit quicker. So I took these flowers that I had purchased at the Dollar Tree, and it was on one of the lays, and I just pulled it apart. And I'm using the turquoise paint to paint the petals of the flower. And I'm using two that I'm going to paint turquoise. And then I'll be using two more that I'm going to use the bright yellow that I used on the background and paint the flowers yellow. And I had my fan on, so they were blowing all over the place, so I was having a time trying to keep them together. And here you'll see where I'll paint the petals yellow. And here I just take these foam leaves that I had got. I made in a previous video where I spoke about where I got these at Hobby Lobby and they were on clearance. These ones I believe I got these from Walmart after fall last year, and the whole entire box was like 39 cents. And so I use them sometimes to add, instead of using my foam squares, I will cut apart these leaves and just stick them on the backs of my images. And they have adhesive on one side, and then I just use tacky glue on the other to stick them down. And it's just a frugal way of using, the foam. And I go in and stick her down on the canvas, as well as the sentiment that comes with it. And the sentiment, one of the sentiments, because there were a couple that came with this image, and this sentiment was so cute, and it says, "Dear self, today I feel beautiful." Okay, and then here I show where I have some of these pink resin hearts, and I wanted it to be a different color, so I took the pink eraser, which is the same color I used on my canvas, and I'm going to paint the heart, and I'm going to use that as my flower center. So I just get that painted, And then here's where I start putting my petals on, or my flowers. And here in a second you'll see where I put the turquoise one down, the bright yellow, and then realized I wanted the turquoise to be on the outside, so I had to readjust them. And I just layer those offset so that the petals from each one will show. And then I just stick my heart in the center, and that will be my canvas completed. And I had such a blast creating this canvas. And so again, at the end I will put it again, if you use the code DTLOLA10, you will get 10% off of your purchase at Oddball Art Stamp Company on Etsy. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.